In this video, I'm going to give you a guide for peeking and everything you need to know to level up your game in terms of peeking. So in my last video, which was the hold and angles video, I said leave a comment down below if anybody wants to see a peeking guide, and straight away someone commented, so I've got straight on it and I'm making the video now. Before I get into it though, I want to quickly say that this is not going to be a guide for quick peeking. I've already done that before and there's loads of videos out there, so I'll leave mine in the description. Also just like search it on YouTube if you want to see quick peek guide. But this is more about peeking in terms of taking fights and picking fights and picking which angles to peek and how to peek them. So when it comes to peeking, there's 4 different ways that you can peek angles. There's wide peeks, there's slow peeks, there's crouch peeks, and there's prone peeks. Now all of them have their own different pros and cons, and all of them have their own different use cases. So I'm going to try and best explain them now and give examples of when you would want to use each. So what is wide peeking? Wide peeking in Siege is when you swing out of an angle when you go to peek an angle, but you do it far, like you swing far. I'll show you an example of a wide swing now. Like that is a wide swing because I'm swinging wide from the cover. And the reason why you would want to do this is because it'll break the enemy's like crosshair placement. Let's say an enemy's holding an angle tight on a door like this, they're holding it close to the wall. If you swing out wide, they're not going to have the reaction time to just shoot you when you swing past, so they're going to have to try and track you and kill you that way. So if you swing out wide, it breaks that crosshair placement, and it means that they have to then flick to you rather than them being able to hold the angle and just shoot when you go into the crosshair. So there's some use cases where you would want to use this. The main one that I'm going to tell you is if someone's holding an angle on you and you know that. Let's say you've drawn this angle out, you know someone's on that blue door holding an angle on you. You don't want to slow peek it, and you don't want to like go like this and peek close. You want to swing wide, because then it's going to break their crosshair and they have to flick to you. One of the downsides of wide peeking though is that you're not able to shoot straight away. Like if I'm swinging out like this, I like to go into a wide swing with a bit of a sprint to start off with. So generally when I'm swinging out, I'm aiming while I'm swinging out, just because it gives us that movement speed buff, like boost to get out there further. So in that like short period of time, if the enemy's good at the game, they might be able to flick to your head and shoot you. So you got to be careful where you want to use these wide peeks. You don't want to do them all the time. Now a slow peek in Siege is when essentially you just slow walk around a corner like this. Like that would be a slow peek because I'm slow walking. The problem with slow peeking like this around corners is that you're moving so slow that you're an easy target to hit. So like if I'm holding this angle here and someone slow peeks us, he's basically going to walk right into my crosshair anyway, so I'm going to be able to shoot him. So you wouldn't want to use this on angles where someone's holding it directly, like holding an active angle like that. What you want to do is use it where you know that someone might not be holding, or like if you're trying to like lurk around, you want to slow walk around and slow walk and slow peek things where they might not know that you're there. If they know that you're there and they're holding an angle and you don't want to slow peek it, you want to wide swing it, or you want to do some sort of jiggle to try and break the aim and get them to like go back into cover and reload. Then you want to swing out and play from a different angle. You want to make sure you use slow peeks sparingly, because there are situations where they're very useful, specifically if they don't know where you are, they don't know exactly where you're coming from. If you're trying to go for a lurk, then slow peeking things is good. Like let's say someone's holding this angle, but they're holding it quite passively, so they're holding it like let's say they're holding it like this or something. If you want to slow walk out, they might not be able to hear the sound cue if you're walking, if you're like careful with it, and then you can get to a point where you can see them and shoot them when they're not ready for you. So slow peeks are more effective against people holding passive angles on you. If you don't know what a passive angle is, I explained it in my last video about holding angles. I'll leave a link to that in the description so you can watch that and learn. The next way to peek angles is called crouch peeking. Now this very simply is just peeking crouched or peeking while crouching. So like this would be a crouch peek, and also this would be a crouch peek. Could you see the difference there between the two? But both of them are crouch peeking. So like the one I'm already crouched and I'm going out, one I'm crouching while I'm going out, and they both like work the same way. However, they both have their own different pros and cons as well. So if I'm already crouched, the reason why I would want to do this is if I know the enemy's holding crosshair head level. Let's say I see his laser on the wall, or I've drawn him out and I know he's holding their head level. If I crouch peek out of that, there's a chance that his gun blocks me, or if I'm ADSing with a hollow, he probably won't block us, but it'll still mean that he has to flick downwards rather than being able to just shoot on us. Generally when I'm crouch peeking as well, I'll peek close. I won't peek out far like this. I won't swing out wide. I'll just peek close and crouch peek it like that. Personally, I prefer to swing out while I'm crouching, so like this, because it like kind of messes up their aim, because like you're changing elevation while you're swinging. So let's say they're following you out while you're walking, they just have to keep a head level. But if you're crouching at the same time, then have to start thinking about going downwards as well. So it just adds a little bit of extra chance that you'll stay alive. The final type of peek that I'm going to talk about is prone peeking. Now this is simply just peeking around corners while prone. There's some situations where you want to do this, but a lot of the time this is going to get you killed. If you prone into an angle like this, chances are you'll get killed, because pronings are very loud sound, so that they'll be able to hear you prone, and they'll be able to aim prone level, so you're just a free target at that point. But it is another way to peek, so I'm going to explain about it and give you pros and cons for it. Generally, if I'm going to prone peek an angle, it's going to be a case of I prone into the angle, then I hold it for a little bit, because there's no way that I'm going to prone peek into an angle that somebody's already holding it, unless I'm going to do one of the next tips that I'm going to talk about after this. For the most part, if I'm prone peeking an angle, I know that angle's not being held actively, so I'm going to prone and hold it and then sit there and watch it for a little bit. Generally, as well, if you're prone peeking out, you don't want to peek outwards like this. If you're prone peeking, you want to peek kind of like in the room that you're in, so like that, and get an angle that way rather than swinging out of the room, just because then you're not prone in a random room. Like, you have full information on the room that you're already in, because you're already in there, so it's safe. And then you're just going to prone in there. So now that I've explained all the different types of peeks, I'm going to talk about where you would want to use them and like how you would use them. The thing with peeking in Siege is that it's not like a one size fits all. You can't be like, okay, I'm just going to wide swing everything, or okay, I'm just going to slow swing everything. I'm going to crouch peek everything. I'm going to prone peek everything. You can't do that. You need to use them all in their own situations. Like, you need to use them all in situations where they're going to be good. How you would want to do this is by randomly mixing it up and being unpredictable. If the enemy knows that you're always wide swinging everything, their crosshair placement's going to be like going to drift outwards like this, because they know you're going to wide swing into it. Also as well, if you slow swing everything, their crosshair placement's fine just being close on the wall, because they'll just be able to shoot you when you slow peek it. So you want to be like changing up how you do it randomly. Don't have like a method to it. Don't be like, okay, I'll wide swing this, then I'll go back in, then I'll slow swing it. Like, you could do that, but if you do that every time, then it's going to get predictable. So you want to change up your routine a little bit. You might want to add some jiggles into it as well. So you might want to jiggle a couple of times and then wide swing. That's generally a good way to peek that like people like to do. But like I said at the start, I'm not going to talk about like how to quick peek. I'm just going to sort of, however, I'm going to mention that you will want to do this at some points as well. So you will need to learn how to jiggle and how to quick peek. But for the most part, what I like to do is I'll jiggle a couple of times, get the information on where they are. And then once I know where they are, I'll wide swing into it, or I'll crouch swing into it. Because if I'm like jiggling an angle, let's say I'm quick peeking it, someone's going to see my head when I'm jiggling, then they're going to aim head level. So if I swing back out crouched, they're probably going to have to flick down to us. So let's say I've jiggled it a couple of times. I know it's there, I've lined up the head level, then I want to crouch, aim up a little bit so I'm in head level again, and then swing out. Just to change up the elevation and make sure that you're not like directly in where their crosshair is going to be. You can kind of like bait them into aiming head level with your crosshair by jiggling a door a couple of times and then crouch peeking out a bit, or even prone peeking sometimes as well. So let's say I'm jiggling this, I see the guy bathroom, he knows that I'm here. I prone peek it, boom, pre-fire, gone. Like, there's so many ways that you can mix up the different peek. One thing to think about as well is the way that you're peeking is going to depend on how the enemy's holding an angle. So I'll give you a couple of examples now. If an enemy's holding an active angle like this, I don't want to slow peek it. Generally, I'm going to always want to wide swing this, because I know that the enemy's holding the angle, and if I'm slow peeking it, then I'm just going to die. So I want to wide swing out and pre-fire, because then I've like stand the most chance of staying alive, because chances are if I'm wide swinging out, they're going to miss the shot on us. Then they're going to have to come out and readjust, and in that time I've just killed them for free. The next thing to think about is when an enemy's holding like a pixel angle like this is a really tight angle. Generally, this type of angle only really punishes people that are slow swinging, like slow peeking out, because they can't hit you if you swing out wide. How you would want to counter pixel peeks is doing something a little bit different. What you have to do to counter a pixel peek, like what I just showed you, is to swing out wide, swing past the angle, but then come back at a different elevation. Now, this is not the only way to counter a pixel peek, but it's just the easiest way without having to try and shit on them on the pixel. So what you would want to do is like literally just sprint past the angle and come back and crouch. I'll show you an example now. So I'll sprint past it, I'll come back and crouch at a different elevation. The reason why you would want to do this is because if I slow peek into it, I'm just dead. If I like wide swing it, I'm probably going to go past the angle anyway, because it's a pixel. But if they see you, if they're holding the pixel and then they see you crouch, like if they see you sprint past, they're going to swing out wide and try and follow you. But because you're now crouched, they have to readjust and you're coming back, so they're going to have to go back like down like that. And it just makes it so much easier for you to get that kill on them. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and also subscribe as well. 95% of people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed, so if you would subscribe, that would mean a lot. Thanks for watching.